Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cat's Track. Our next guest is known to everyone, and I doubt he requires a full introduction. Today, we are fortunate to hear from our one and only Dr. Bob. Bob was born in Long Branch, central New Jersey, in the US, and based in Columbus, Ohio, he was training 100 hardware, grocery, and drug wholesalers for computer conversions prior to the internet. The application was a success. However, the company ran out of cash and crashed. In 1973, 47 years ago, a good friend convinced him to fly from Denver to Calgary. A mid-February Chinook was on. University of Calgary sent him an offer, and he came expecting to only stay a year or two. He fell in love with Calgary, with the people and the opportunity. Thank goodness. Dr. Bob's greatest passion is encouraging his students to experience their full potential and then connect as friends after graduation. Well, Dr. Bob, you've certainly achieved that.
Thanks, Catherine.
And everyone who knows you loves you, and I'm so grateful that you're here today. Everybody, you'll find his full bio attached and much more on the internet. He's everywhere. Dr. Bob, thank you for joining us today.
Well, you're welcome, Catherine. Just so everyone knows, this is my hockey beard because since we don't have playoffs, so when COVID-19 is mostly out of the way, then I'll shave the beard off probably.
Well, it looks very handsome on you. Maybe you want to keep it.
Thank you.
May we start with a few of the questions that I sent you this week?
Sure.
Awesome. So, this is a tough one for everybody, but what has been your greatest challenge over the last 2 months, Bob?
Well, first of all, COVID-19 is affecting so many people, not only in Calgary, but the whole world. And I finally said, we've got to do something about it. So part of what I did was to start reaching out to many of our alumni, people I knew, and trying to build collaborative clusters, because at the end of the day, our economy in Alberta is going to have to come back. But because the oil price is so low, we're getting a double hit. We really have to do a lot to make the future better than the current situation.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And the top three things that you want to share with our audience.
Well, the first one is the old Chinese phrase, crisis on one side is danger, the other side is opportunity if we actually pay attention. Second aspect is, why would you ever think small if you have to think big? Because you have to think big now. Because not only COVID, but our whole economy in Alberta and Calgary, we got to think big. We can't think small. And number three is, why go slow if we have to go fast? The rest of the world's waiting for us. So let's go do it, because the whole world needs us. And if we can figure this out for us, we're going to figure it out for a lot of other people at the same time.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, okay, so sometimes I come up with a surprise question. I apologize for not telling you in advance. Because of what you just said, where's the puck going?
I'm sorry, where's?
Where you had a hockey analogy. Where is the puck going?
Well, the puck's going digital.
Yeah.
The cameras are going to follow a digital puck, and we're going to have to follow a digital economy. So sooner's better than later, because that's where the world's going. So I think all the people now have discovered that they can do online courses, they can do Zoom calls, they can do lots of other things that they never thought were possible. And we had to compress that all into a very small time frame. And part of what I'm privileged to do is to be part of the Global Innovation Management Institute, GIMI. And we have a global network looking at COVID virus, what's happening throughout the whole world, and then also what we can do as we start to come out of that.
Wonderful. Do you have a website for that, Bob?
It's Global Innovation Management Institute, GIMI. Okay. Or if people aren't sure, they can always send me an email and I'll get them connected up.
Wonderful. What's your email address, Bob?
It's SCHULZ, no T, SCHULZ at ucalgary.ca.
Awesome. Thank you for offering that. And then finally, your good news or legacy story that you want to share with everyone.
Well, I think a legacy always says, what are you going to leave behind? And what I hope to leave behind is a lot of my former students and people I've known that have been innovators. And if I can give them my dots, mostly connected in the next 10 or 15 or 20 years, they're going to have the dots that I spent a lifetime collecting except they're going to have all those connections of innovators throughout the world, and they're going to have by the time they're 35 or 40. And that actually bodes well for the world and certainly for Calgary.
Excellent. I've got one other final question. Just curious. Are you taking a lot of what you teach online? Are you starting to do more things like webinars and seminars that we can sign up for?
I'm not doing that myself, but other people like you are doing that, and so I'm always happy to collaborate.
Oh,
And also, what I find is there's another aspect that's happening, and those are called what I call collaborative clusters. And what I'm trying to do is to nurture collaborative clusters. These are up and coming companies which already have traction, and getting them to work with somebody else in Calgary, mostly, and they can actually build a much larger base set of customers in the oil and gas industry and other industries need worldwide, and they don't have to be all that big, and they're actually much more valuable without trying to own or run another company. So I call these collaborative clusters. And so I have those going now in social enterprise, international development, health and wellness, online learning, clean technology. And these are really the future for Alberta. And if I can get the companies to collaborate, they will actually get bigger faster because they'll know what to do and who the key people are that they can trust, the key people they can grow with.
I love it. And I'm sorry to keep you. Can I ask you one more?
You can keep asking questions. I'm not going anywhere.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. What about your position on mental health, and what are some of the key strategies that you're suggesting to many? As we know, in this crisis or situation we're all in globally, it's a crisis from a mental health perspective.
Okay, well, let's look at what the challenge is. And that is that mental health for many years was someone talking to a professional. The professional writes some things down, prescribes some pills and whatever. And sometimes the people get better, and a lot of times they wouldn't. And as a matter of fact, when I listened to Glenda McQueen, who is the head of psychiatry at the University of Calgary, my recollection is that she said that the pills that psychiatrists typically prescribe are only 16% effective. I think that was the gross number. If you subtract out the adverse effects, it probably wasn't very good. So my view is that health and wellness more and more is going to depend upon non-invasive therapies. Now, one of those is brain mapping, so we can see exactly what's going on. We don't have to worry about whether my dog died when I was 5 years old, whether my mother was difficult to deal with, or my father was abusive, because all of that would show up if it was bothering us the way our brainwaves work. And so my view is if we can take the physical problem, move it from this stage and move it down, the psychology part that you need doesn't have to go as far. And one of the therapies is lights. Brain stimulation is the second one. Third one is biofeedback, music therapy. These are all non-invasive techniques. And interestingly enough, almost all of them have really strong roots in Calgary, except again, each of these modalities hasn't been talking with each other. And I'm hoping that we can get them in the room at the same time and see if we can actually try these different modalities, particularly music therapy, see what happens to the brain. And I think if we had the right people in the room, and I have a pretty good idea who they are, that we can actually, in a month or less, figure out half of the problems that people have and know exactly what happens with music to help people adjust and learn different ways to get their brainwaves to work. If we do that, then the mental health issues go down, and then all of a sudden PTSD, ADD, brain concussions, all of those become less important, and the people can get on with their lives. The data on this is really astronomical. More than half of the people that are homeless had a house, and they were brain injured before they became homeless, not after. And that a lot of people that are from, say, Afghanistan or other countries where there's war, Syria, a lot of those people have PTSD or concussions from the bombs. Well, if you all you do is give them shelter, but you don't change the brain injury and the concussions, you don't help the people have their head work better, then it's pretty hard to give them the skills you're going to need for a job. I think all this is possible, and my view is that Calgary can be the lead edge in the world in this because the parts are already here. That's, to me, the future is already here. We just don't know about it. And so part of my job and part of what I'm so pleased to be participating today is to let the rest of the world know and let Calgary know we have the pieces here. Let's just put the pieces together because the whole world is waiting for us to do that because they haven't got the pieces we have.
Oh my gosh. Bob, thank you so much for saying that. Are we okay to reach out to you with any of these topics that you've shared, especially around mental health?
Sure. I mean, I know where the people are, and I'm hoping that once. And there's other aspects. I mean, most people don't realize that Calgary probably has the most accessible DNA for medical trials in the world. We
Wow.
have 10,000 or more from South Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya, Colombia, 25,000 from the Philippines, probably 50,000 from India, and then 100,000, 150,000 from Hong Kong and mainland China. So you don't have to go out and do clinical trials all over the world. All you have to do is do the clinical trials here. So I already know where the pieces are to put that together. So I'm working on that as well. I mean, it's going to be fun because now people have to think bigger and they have to go faster. So my view is, let's do it.
I love it. Oh, I love your attitude. Dr. Bob, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm extremely grateful. And I know our audience is going to absolutely love hearing from you. Thank you.
You're welcome, Catherine.
Everybody, thanks for joining us for another Cats Track. I look forward to the next episode. Wonderful. Enjoy your night. Thank you.